Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems that we're finally getting to the core of the matter. When I saw that man raise his knife... When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark? Yes. At least, I think it was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident. It's also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. Imagine if there is actually like another serial killer out there that doesn't really kill people, but rather creates blackouts and such. It happened in the very first case that Phoenix ever had. It happened in the DL6 incident, and it also happened in the SL9 incident as well. Maybe there is such a person like that who just cuts the power at different occasions, just so that other serial killers slash murderers can do their job. So then you... I panicked and rushed toward both of them. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dodd was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help Mr. Marshall. I think I knocked away the man with a knife. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly, but what I did, it's all kind of a blur. In a matter of just a few seconds, Miss Sky was almost killed. Then she witnessed a murder about to take place. A little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But the head detective of criminal affairs fought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face? With its waning face? With its winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Well, if I'm not being an idiot for once, I'm definitely gonna have to say that it was something that resembled the Blue Badger. What it was, though, is a mystery. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation? If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this Blue Badger really? I just might know? The Blue Badger hadn't even dreamed up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defendant's belief that on that fateful day, 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the Blue Badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room! Phoenix, are you alright? Why the fuck are you talking like this? I mean, sometimes when you speak loud, you tend to go over the top, but this is exaggerated.
Mr. Wright.
In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious Blue Badger look-alike. Something that is now sitting in this very room, you say? No. It can't be the apple, don't... Nah, that's stupid. Don't be stupid, Noby. Something that looked like the Blue Badger. And it's in the evidence, like in the court record. Wait a minute. Could it be... the urn? I mean, it does look like it has 3 horns. I hope I'm not wrong. Cause I cannot really... I cannot afford to get any more penalties at this point. The mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this! But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar.
But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger.
It sure does not, but you did say that that day you only saw its shadow. Maybe the fact that it resembled the Blue Badger is a big coincidence, when in fact what you actually saw was this. Indeed it does. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. I see. I guess I'm supposed to turn it? Let's see. And then probably something... Oh, there you go. There you go. There's our angle over here. If I just... something like this, right? Yeah, this is really similar. Take that! This isn't right. I got to make it look like more like the Badger. Ow! You gotta be kidding me! I didn't make it right? Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. If Mr. Wright cannot match the shape the witness drew, we cannot accept his claim. I gotta find just the right angle. Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more. Or horizontally?
Come on, Mr. Wright. You can do it.
I gotta show them the correct angle to look at this from. What the hell? Let's see. Ah, there you go. Okay. I don't think I was looking at it the right way. I think... yeah, this looks a lot better. Well, is this a miracle or what? Well, it certainly ain't Christmas miracle. Not anymore. No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No. It cannot be! Order! Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. Indeed. Cause this ain't your regular jar. It is also listed as evidence from the SL9 incident. And it was broken when we first investigated the evidence room, so... there is a connection here. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then, please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? I guess the location, cause if it's based on Emma's memory, the jar would be right where the big window was. Based on the drawing, but... I mean, the murder weapon is still the same. We have the halberd. The murderer would... I mean, in order to prove that maybe it was Neil Marshall instead, the one that did it. Wait, hold on a second. How would that change? How would that prove that it was Neil Marshall that attacked? Just go for it. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. Not only that, but she saw it at a very specific angle. Knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? There would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall? Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's award. No, Mr. Wright, you cannot be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless... I don't know if I can go through with this. What? Miss Wright? What's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. Really? Cause for once in my life, I'm having a hard time following this. I mean, I do feel like we're gonna reach some conclusion that will involve suspecting Damon Gant, but I don't understand what is going on at this point in time. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Skye knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
You mean... Mr. Marshall died because of me?
Oh. Okay, I guess I'm a little late to the party as well. So, it seems that you killed Marshall.
No!
Oh God, Emma! I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Uh-oh.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances...
Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her?
Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it?
I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't.
Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony.
I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead.
We certainly cannot get dead people to testify. No siree. And I don't want to hear of any funny ideas like using the Necronomicon. That is like the last thing that I want to see. For anyone to bring up like a Necronomicon over here to use it. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean, there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that a victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. Somehow. Oh! Oh! Okay, I think I know what it is.
That's impossible.
Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. It is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession.
Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer?
Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. He is damn right. The ugly truth. No matter what the truth will be, we are here to seek that out. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright. Please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Well, it can only be the jar itself. More specifically, the blood traces. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? No, it's the jar.
Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name?
It's a jar, not a blue badger. If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Are you people listening to us? We're talking about the jar, not the blue badger! Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. Yeah, here I was thinking that I was the one going crazy over here. I thought for a second that I accidentally presented the blue badger, not the jar. I would have completely cracked at that point. Message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. he used a few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. And the victim's message will become apparent.
No.
Miss Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written, given the circumstances. The murderer's name. Okay. Am I supposed to... okay. I'm supposed to connect the dots, eh? In a literal sense. Oh, okay. Let's see how we're gonna connect the dots over here. No, not like that. Oi. Okay, I think I know what we're supposed to do here. It is who I think it is. Yep. And we have the last letter over here. Can I connect this? Apparently I cannot. I can only connect the dots over here. Ooh. This can't be good. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove his client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. It wasn't that the evidence was forged so that Joe Dark would be seen as the victim. It wouldn't be just that, but because it was meant to hide the fact that Emma did it. See, Wardy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Count, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Woody. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. You really do like putting the blame on others so easily, don't you? But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. What the hell are you talking about? It's not important. Innocent man, my ass. He still murdered all those people. whether we know the truth of what happened in the office or not. And Edgeworth did not know that the evidence was forged. Then you know, we aren't defenders of justice.
What?
We are merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death.
How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault?
Order! 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 Order!
The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows.